I am confident that once again we're going to surprise the world. We're going to host the best World Cup ever. It's going to be energetic. We're going to have good food, lots of beer, sunshine, and loads of excitement, and perhaps lots of dancing, both good and bad. South Africa is a country of possibility. It's a country of opportunity, and as I said, where the unexpected can happen. And this is a theme that's shaped my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I now am going to tell you my age. I was born in 1961. 1961 was a year that marked the beginning of apartheid, the beginning of a most divisive and oppressive period in the history of our country. For a child born in 1961, a child of my race and gender, I often wonder what were my parents thinking. It was a time that didn't hold much promise at all. Rather, I would think that for my family, given their race, where they lived at the time, 1961 was a year of doom and despair. And I'm sure many South Africans would have agreed or will agree with that opinion. Some years later, I enrolled at the then University of Natal. The year was 1980 to be precise. I was one of a very few black students who were able to obtain a permit to attend a white university. That wasn't so long ago. Job reservation was still firmly in place, and although I had been the top academic performer throughout my schooling, my choices of career were extremely restricted. And so I became a teacher. It's a popular story for someone of my age and gender and race. It was one of the few options, and aside from race, it was considered to be a suitable choice for girls who would marry and then have children. So what's the point, many of our parents thought. At that time, if somebody had told me that in 2009 I would be appointed the rector of Tukkies, I would have laughed outright, said they were mad. It's not possible. They were dreaming. It's not a dream that I had. At the time, the University of Pretoria was an Afrikaans university exclusively for white students. Lo and behold, last year it did happen. I was appointed to lead this large institution. The University of Pretoria took an exceptional decision, and I think it's symbolic of what the country is capable of, doing what you least expect in the most positive way at a time that you may least expect it would do so. There was surprise from many quarters. I'm the first person appointed to lead the university who's not a Tukkie. I have no degree from the University of Pretoria. Not only that, I'm a woman and a woman of color. I suppose you could say I am, after all, a Delare. Maar ek is 'n Engelse sprekende Delare, van Durban. So it's a country of surprises and promises, and it never ceases to surprise me in the most positive of ways. What we have learned about ourselves is that we are adaptable, we are spirited, and we are innovative as a people. And as the popular saying goes, it is a place vir 'n boer maak 'n plan. My appointment at Tukkies was possible because of the adaptability and the vision of the university and its leadership. And it demonstrated that way before my appointment. In fact, in the 1990s, the university decided it would admit black students for the first time. And then, having started in 1908 as an English language college, then becoming fully Afrikaans, it decided it would become a bilingual institution. So we now teach and conduct our research in both English and in Afrikaans. This year, we have over 42,000 students. The demand for education in the country is very, very strong. People are hungry for education. We expect that that demand is going to grow. In fact, we have another 20,000 students registered for distance education because we do not have the facilities to accommodate all the students who wish to have a higher education. Now, if we look back at the history of this one university, it's quite remarkable how it moved from the 1990s, from being an all-white Afrikaans-speaking university to a very large, complex, multiracial institution without any drop in the quality of its teaching and the quality of its research. In fact, if you look at where we are today, we have improved our quality. The University of Pretoria is one of the few universities that is listed in the top 500 universities in the world. We have world-class status in over 6 research areas, and we intend to grow this. You heard earlier about the achievements of our business school, the Gordon Institute of Business Science. Within less than a decade, GIBS was able to show its mettle on the world stage by being listed among the top 45 business schools globally for its executive education. I'm sure there are many Tikkies in the room, are there? Each of you knows that your qualification means something. It means something not only in South Africa, but it means something wherever you find yourself. And that we intend to take seriously, and in fact to make sure it means much more in the growing competition in the 21st century. We've talked a lot this morning about the Soccer World Cup, and I've mentioned it again. We're very privileged as the University of Pretoria to be a focal point in the World Cup. We're hosting the Argentinian soccer team. We're the only university that's hosting a team, not only in terms of giving them a site for practice, but they're also living in our accommodation. One of the astounding experiences I had was in January this year, when Diego Maradona visited us to inspect the facilities. What was exceptional for me about this, it's the first time in my life, for most of a day, I was surrounded by journalists and security personnel. Diego Maradona spoke Spanish all day and we spoke to one another through an interpreter. When he was asked about the quality of the facilities, he responded to the international journalists by using one word, perfecto. That's the quality of the infrastructure we have in South Africa. Yes, I said there are contrasts, there are places where it isn't as good, but we do have that world-class infrastructure, and we are ready to host the World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many parts of South Africa that are truly world-class. Several schools, several universities, talked about the infrastructure, and of course, there's always the climate. Yes, there are challenges, but our history shows we are able to deal with them. The homecoming revolution talks about the skills that are needed to build the economy. I want to talk or say something more about skills also being needed, not only to build the economy, which is of fundamental importance, but the skills needed to build the social fabric of South Africa. University education in any form, provided it is of high quality, is good not only for the individual, but also for the society as a whole. For the individual, it brings better employment prospects, higher levels of income, and a better quality of life. But when a nation has a high number of well-educated people, there are significant benefits for the society as a whole. Educational attainment is fundamental for us as an emerging economy, because through educating our people, we increase social capital and the degree of social cohesion in our society. There have been many studies that have shown quite clearly that individuals with higher levels of education also have higher levels of entrepreneurial activity, and that entrepreneurs who are more educated are more likely to create a greater number of jobs. We need educated entrepreneurs.